Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics.
I think once I start feeling like, I don't know if bored is the right word, but if I do the same thing too many times in a row, I get bored, and then I want to do a new thing. So
sometimes there's just the pull of the new. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, something new is pretty appealing.
Yeah, new stuff's fun, exciting.
Yeah. And Doug actually started doing technique wad videos, I don't know, 6 months, a year before.
About 6 months.
6 months before we started doing the podcast.
That was before the podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of those. Okay.
Yeah. I recognize that in the first couple months back. You'll see there's been a little bit of a leap forward and just how we approach things. I would say more holistically. So being able to see the bigger picture better, I think some of that space allowed us to see that. We are looking to bring in a very balanced series of shows between interviewing great coaches, athletes, scientists, and really, our goal is to keep it very balanced and also doing a lot of things that are cutting edge. So covering the fundamentals with more depth is really important. I think the more experience we have, the more we see that fundamentals tend to be overlooked. And we actually, like for me personally, like getting more depth in those fundamentals is actually really fulfilling for me. I know it is for Doug as well. So we're going to be doing that. But I think one of the things I'm excited about is a lot of the connections we made with researchers and people who are doing cutting edge things. So I think over the next year, people are going to see like there's some things in the market that have been kind of the same for a while, and I think we're going to shake it up a little bit with what's happening with Barbell Shrugged, introducing new ideas around nutrition, supplementation, movement, just everything that we normally talk about. I know I personally made a bunch of new discoveries that are new for me, and if they're new for me, they're probably new for the audience as well. And so in regard to barbell business, we're really enjoying that. We see barbell business as a really big opportunity to impact the industry in a big way, because what we see is a lot of gym owners struggling, and when the gym owner's struggling, the athletes aren't being served. And what we want to do is create a very solid support structure for gym owners and coaches, because if the gym owner can provide, if we can support them, they can support their coaches, and the coaches can support their athletes much better. So we really see, Barbell Shrugged is a great way for us to reach a lot of people. And I see barbell business, what we're doing with Logic and with the coaching, as a way of creating a lot of stability and good information for really the entire planet. So
it's a much broader impact.
And it's a much more focused influence on the people we want to have influence with, and that is the average person that is suffering from being sedentary and not eating a great diet. And if we can create a really good support structure for the gym owners and good marketing, because with what we do, we can get more people doing CrossFit, we can get more people walking into the gym total, which if you look at especially the American population, we need more of that. So if we can have 1,000 gyms using our systems, that means that those gyms are going to be highly successful, pulling more people in, and we're making that's how we're making an impact and trying to change the industry a bit. So we could do a lot of different things. We could choose to launch a supplement line. We could choose to and we are choosing to, we do training programs for athletes online with Barbell Shrugged. We are still choosing to do those things, and we're looking for opportunities. The question that runs through my mind is, in the way that the filter we run our decisions through is, what's the biggest impact we can make with the time and resources and our skill sets possible. And so I could pick up personal training and train someone one-on-one, and I could charge a high dollar amount, and it would be fun, and that would be fulfilling too. Or I could say, look, I want to look at the big picture. How do we make the biggest change possible? And it might not mean that I go personal train someone one-on-one because I have this skill set and I have this team where we can impact thousands of gyms that impact thousands of people, and on a much deeper level than even doing a podcast. And so like the podcast is something we love doing, and it actually helps push us to learn more. I've learned more doing podcasts than anything I've ever done before, I think. And that's like the foundation of how we show up in the world. But down in the roots, it's with the gyms.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike and I both have a passion for the industry and have been very fortunate to have kind of a deep background in training, and then we have the academic side of things. And so, having been doing it my whole life, I've been very fortunate to, in my opinion, have a kind of a more professional look at the industry. Again, having the academic side of things and the training side of things together, which a lot of people, they simply don't have. And so one of the things that we really want to do with the show is to raise people's expectations for how knowledgeable they should be about being a coach or being a business owner or how much they should care about their athletes and the quality of their gym for the training, and then also for just like the overall client experience. I think professionalizing the fitness industry, and what that means to me is that if you look at the medical community, if you're a doctor or a nurse, people have a certain assumption about how much you know and about how professional you are and about what your background is and how much you know about the human body and physiology and histology and on. If you compare kind of like the average base assumption of how smart a doctor is compared to how smart a personal trainer is, most people are going to be like, well, obviously the doctor knows way more about the human body than the personal trainer does. And that very well may be true in the vast majority of cases. But I don't think it has to be true. It doesn't necessarily need to be the case in every case. You could have a doctor that just did whatever he could to get through medical school, and now he can call himself a doctor and he gets the status, and then he never studies anything the rest of his life except for what he absolutely has to. That could be the case. And then you could get a personal trainer that never went to school at all and just studies his ass off every day because he loves it and has an amazing depth of knowledge about the human body that rivals the other doctor that I just mentioned in that example. But on average, the doctor probably has a more thorough education because he basically has to. He has to go through medical school and he has to go through a residency and whatnot. Whether he can apply all that knowledge in every case is up in the air. But the level of education required to be a doctor is very, very high. This is not making the case that we should have to go through a 4-year medical style school to be a coach or a personal trainer. But what I would like to see happen is that personal trainers, coaches, like they raise their expectations about how much they should know about coaching and about physiology and about anatomy. And it's not okay to just know how to lift weights. Like you should know all of these other areas to be the best coach you can possibly be. So with what we know about training and with having the platform that we have, I'd like to professionalize the fitness industry to the point where eventually people kind of view fitness coaches and the wellness community in a similar light that they view the medical community. In my mind, and actually Alan Cosgrove said this really, really well, like to emphasize my point, like if you look at any TV sitcom and like the doctor on the show is like in a suit and he's very professional and he gets a lot of respect, and then like the personal trainer comes in the room and on the same sitcom and he's got like a backwards hat and like cut off t-shirt and he's kind of just like, what's up guys? And like he's kind of a doofus, right? Like he's like the bro that everyone likes to make fun of when they're talking about like bro science and whatnot. Like the assumption being like bro science, like he doesn't actually know what the hell he's talking about. He just happens to be athletic. And so I don't think that's not what a real strength coach is like. There's many strength coaches that are truly amazing in this world, but that's the stereotype. And I'd like to kind of break down that stereotype a little bit, and in order to do that, I think like that world and people that work in this fitness strength conditioning community, like we need to all raise our expectations of ourselves and be the most knowledgeable, most dedicated, just the best that we can possibly be. And then if that's the case, then eventually that stereotype will kind of go away. The biggest announcements, if you don't listen to Barbell Shrugged, then I highly recommend that you listen to Barbell Shrugged. We do it every week. We put a lot of effort into it, and a lot of people enjoy that show. So if you're an athlete or a coach, powerlifting, weightlifting, CrossFit, or anything in the world of strength conditioning, then it's a great show to listen to. If you're if you're a business owner or a CrossFit gym owner, or just you're in the fitness industry at all and you want to learn more about business, then Barbell Business is also one of our shows. It's video based. You can watch it on YouTube, or it's podcast based where you can listen to the audio on iTunes or Stitcher. So you kind of got both sides of the equation there. We got the business side for the fitness world, and then we got the training and performance side for the athletes. So Barbell Business and Barbell Shrugged.
And I've said it before, if you're not listening to Barbell Shrugged, you're fucking up. So
I agree.
We need to make t-shirts to say that.
Instagram, Mike_Bledsoe. Twitter is Michael Bledsoe.
Do people still use Twitter? How fast has that fallen off?
I don't really use it.
I only have so many things that I can click and check.
For sure.
And Twitter's gone.
I don't use it very much. I probably average 3 or 4 posts a week. At Facebook, facebook.com/Bledsoepia.
For me, you can go Instagram, and it's just Douglas E. Larson, DouglasELarson on Instagram. Follow me there.
I'm starting my own show starting in January.
Big announcement.
And that's going to be that's the Bledsoe Show.
Gotcha.
So if you're following me on social media, I'll be letting you know. That's posting. I think you'll enjoy it.
You heard it here first, guys.
Actually, I think this podcast.
I think you're right. They did hear it here first. We haven't told anybody yet.
You got the exclusive lead. So,
breaking news.
That's right. So, well, thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Don't forget, go to Massenomics.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page. You can sign up for our newsletter. Also, there you can buy yourself shirts, hats, all that other cool stuff. You can check out our articles, backlog on all our old podcasts. Don't forget, go to iTunes, rate us 5 stars. Make sure you like the Massenomics page on Facebook. You can follow the official Instagram page at Massenomics. And I'm Tyler. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler F. Stone. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody, and stay strong.
Thanks, Tyler. See you, bud.
Thanks.
You just heard the Massenomics Podcast. With your ears, you're welcome. Check us out on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Massenomics, and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.